Jai Sripad, Srila Bhakti, Pavan, Janardan Maharaj ki Jai.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabhadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Vitam Sya Om Ajnana Timarandasya Gyana Jana Shilakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namah Gorva Bhistam Supurakam Ganara Sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govindabhidam Ujwalam Varatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Bande Vishwagurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Premna Vibija Pradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandavananam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadekavaranam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Varam Vandetam Shubhadam Madeka Sharanam Nyashishvara Shridaram Vanshakapatarubhya Syakripa Sindhubhya Vicha Patitanam Pavenibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahamananyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Nama. We're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is the Madhya-lila, chapter 25, the residents of Varanasi become Vaishnavas. And here Mahaprabhu is explaining that the Srimad Bhagavatam is a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. He's talking with Prakashananda Saraswati. So verse number 146. Sarva Vedanta Sarami Srimad Bhagavatam Ishate Tadrasamrita Triptasya Nanyatra Shadrati Kvachit. Srimad Bhagavatam is accepted as the essence of all Vedic literature and Vedanta philosophy. Whoever tastes the transcendental mellow of Srimad Bhagavatam is never attracted to any other literature. Gayatri Ararte E Granta Aramban Satyam Param Sambandha Dhimahi Sadhana Prayojan. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is an explanation of the Brahma Gayatri mantra. The absolute truth, Satyam Param, indicates the relationship, and we meditate, Dhimahi, on him indicates the execution of devotional service and the ultimate goal of life. Janmadhyashaya tonvaya ditaratas charteshva vigyasvarat tane brahma hridaya adhikavaye muyanti yat suraya tejo vari mridam yata vinimayo yatra trisargom risha damna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam param dhimai. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, Son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations in the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramonir matsaranam satam Vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapa trayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Parar Ishvara Sadyo Riddhi Avarudyate Tra Kritibis Susrushubis Tatshanat. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavad Purana propounds the highest truth which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality, distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Swarupa Sri Bhagavat Tate Veda Shastra Hoite Parama Mahatva. Srimad Bhagavatam gives direct information of the mellow derived from service to Krishna. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is above all other Vedic literatures. Nigamakalpataror galitam phalam shukamukad amrita drava samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasam alayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedic literatures, and it is considered the ripened fruit of the wish-fulfilling tree of Vedic knowledge. It has been sweetened by emanating from the mouth of Sukadeva Goswami. You who are thoughtful and who relish mellows should always try to taste this ripened fruit. O thoughtful devotees, as long as you are not absorbed in transcendental bliss, you should continue tasting the Srimad Bhagavatam, and when you are fully absorbed in bliss, you should go on tasting its mellows forever. Vayam tuna vitripyama utamashloka vikrame yat shrinvatam rasagyanam svadu svadu pade pade. We never tire of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead, who is glorified by hymns and prayers. Those who enjoy association with him relish hearing his pastimes at every moment. Ateva Bhagavad Koraha Vichar Iha Hoite Pabe Sutra Shrutera Artasar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised Prakashananda Saraswati, study Srimad Bhagavatam very scrutinizingly, then you will understand the actual meaning of the Brahma Sutra. Nirantara Kara Krishna Nama Sankirtan Hilaya Mukti Pabe Premadan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, always discuss Srimad Bhagavatam and constantly chant the holy name of Lord Krishna. In this way you will be able to attain liberation very easily, and you will be elevated to the enjoyment of love of Godhead. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur states that without studying Srimad Bhagavatam, one cannot understand the purport of the Brahma Sutra or the Upanishads. If one tries to understand Vedanta philosophy and the Upanishads without studying Srimad Bhagavatam, one will be bewildered, constructing a different meaning. Let's see. If one tries to understand Vedanta philosophy and the Upanishads without studying Srimad Bhagavatam, one will be bewildered, and constructing a different meaning will gradually become an atheist or an impersonalist. Brahma Bhuta Prashanatmana Shochatina Kankshati Samasarveshu Bhuteshu Madbhaktim Labate Param. One who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Muktapi lilaya vigraham kritva bhagavatam bhajante. Even a liberated soul, merged in the impersonal Brahman effulgence, is attracted to the pastimes of Krishna. He thus installs a deity and renders the Lord service. This is a quotation from Shankar Acharya's commentary on the Nishringatapani Upanishad. Parinishtitopi nargunye uttama shloka lilaya grihita cheta rajarshe ajnanam yad aditavan. Sukadeva Goswami addressed Parikshit Maharaj, "My dear king, although I was fully situated in the transcendental position, I was nonetheless attracted to the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Therefore I studied Srimad Bhagavatam from my father. Tacharavinda nayanasya padaravinda kinjaka mishra tulasi makaranda vayu antargatasva vivarena chakaratesham shankshobam aksharajusham apichita tanvo." When the breeze carrying the aroma of tulsi leaves and saffron from the lotus feet of the lotus-eyed personality of God had entered through the nostrils into the hearts of those sages, the Kumaras, they experienced a change in both body and mind, even though they were attached to the impersonal Brahman understanding. Atmaramas chamunayo nirgranta api arukrame kurvanti ahitukim bhaktim itambuta gunohari. Those who are self-satisfied and unattracted by external material desires are also attracted to the loving service of Sri Krishna, whose qualities are transcendental and whose activities are wonderful. Hari, the personality of God, it is called Krishna because he has such transcendentally attractive features. Henakali se Maharashtriya Brahman, Shubhate Kahila se Shloka Vivaran. At this time, the Brahmin from the province of Maharashtra mentioned Lord Chaitanya's explanation of the Atmarama verse. E shlokararta prabhu ekashashti prakar korijachin jahashuni loke chamatkar. The Maharashtrian Brahmin stated that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had already explained that verse in 61 ways. Everyone was astonished to hear this. Tabe sabalog shunite agraha korila ekashasti arta prabhu vivari kohila. When all the people gathered there expressed the desire to hear again the 61 different meanings of the Atmarama verse, Mahaprabhu again explained them. Shunya lokera bora chamatkar hoila Chaitanya Gosai Shri Krishna Nirdarila. When everyone heard Mahaprabhu's explanation of the Atmarama shloka, everyone was astonished and struck with wonder. They concluded that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was none other than Lord Krishna himself. Etakohe utiya chalila gorahari namaskara kore lok hari dwani kori. After giving those explanations again, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and took his leave. All the people there offered their obeisances unto him and chanted the Maha Mantra. Sabkashibasi kore namasankirtan premeha se kandegai koraye nartan. All the inhabitants of Kashi, Varanasi, began chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in ecstatic love. Sometimes they laughed, sometimes they cried, sometimes they chanted, and sometimes they danced. Sannyasi Pandita Kore Bhagavata Vichar Varanasi Pura Prabhu Korela Nishtar. After this, all the Mayavadi sannyasis and learned scholars at Varanasi began discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered them. Nijalok Loya Prabhu Aila Vasagar Varanasi Hoila Dvitiya Nadiya Nagar. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then returned to his residence with his personal associates. Thus he turned the whole city of Varanasi into another Navadip. Nijaguna Loya Prabhu Kohe Hasya Kori Kashiteyami Ailama Bechite Babakali. Among his own associates, Mahaprabhu laughingly said, I came here to sell my emotional ecstatic love. Kashite grahaka nahi bastuna vikai punarapi deshe bahi loyai laodya nahi jai. Although I came to Varanasi to sell my goods, there were no customers, and it appeared necessary for me to carry them back to my own country. Ami bojavai vahinu Toma Sabar Duka Hoila, Toma Sabara Ichaya Bina Muya Bilaila. All of you were feeling unhappy that no one was purchasing my goods and that I would have to carry them away. Therefore, by your will only, I have distributed them without charging. Sabe kohe loka tarite tomara avatar, purva dakina paschima korila nishtar. All the Lord's devotees then said, you have incarnated to deliver fallen souls. You have delivered them in the east and in the south, and now you are delivering them in the west. Eka Varanasi Chila Tomate Vimuka Tahanishtaria Koila Amasabar Suk. Only Varanasi was left because the people there were against your missionary activities. Now you have delivered them, and we are all very happy. Varanasi Grami Jadi Kola Hola Hoila Shuni Grami Deshilok Ashite Lagila. After the news of these events was broadcast, everyone from the surrounding neighborhoods began to pour in to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lakakoti log aise nahika ganan Sankirna stane Prabhu Pai Darshan. Hundreds of thousands of people came to see Mahaprabhu. There was no counting the number. Because the Lord's residence was very small, not everyone could see him. Prabhu Jabe Snani Jana Vishveshara. Prabhu Jabe Snani Jana Vishveshwara Darshane Duidike Loka Kore Prabhu Vilokane. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to take his bath in the Ganges and to see the temple of Vishveshwara, people would line up on both sides to see the Lord. Bahutuli Prabhu Kohe Bol Krishna Hari Dandavat Kori Loke Haridvani Kori. When Mahaprabhu passed by the people, he would raise his arms and say, please chant Krishna, please chant Hari. All the people received him by chanting Hare Krishna, and they offered their respects to him by this chanting. Emata Dina Pancha Loka Nishtariya Ekadina Chalila Prabhu Udvigna Hoya. In this way, for 5 days, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered the people of Varanasi. Finally, On the next day, he became very eager to leave. Patriyute Prabhu Jadi Korila Gaman, Pachelag Hoila Tabe, Bhakta Panchajan. After rising very early on the 6th day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started to leave, and 5 devotees began to follow him. Tapana Mishra Raghunath, Maharashtra Brahman, Chandrasekhar, Kirtaniya, Paramananda, Panchajana. The 5 devotees, after rising early in the morning on the 6th day, Mahaprabhu started to leave, and 5 devotees began to follow him. Ratrayute Prabhu Jadi Korilagaman Pachil Lag Hoila Tabe Bhakta Panchajan. These 5 devotees, Tapana Mishra Raghunath, Maharashtriya Brahman, Chandrasekhar, Kirtaniya, Paramananda Panchajan. These 5 devotees were Tapan Mishra Raghunath, the Maharashtriya Brahman, Chandrasekhar, and Paramananda Kirtaniya. Tabe Chohe Prabhu Sange Nilachala Chaite Sabare Vidaya Dila Prabhu Jatna Sahite. These 5 wanted to accompany Mahaprabhu to Jagannath Puri, but the Lord attentively bade them farewell. Chara Icha Pachayaisha Amare Dekite Ebiam Ami Ek Jamu Jarikanda Pate Jaricha Pachayaisha Amare Dekite Ebiami Ek Jamu Jarikanda Pate. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, if you want to see me, you may come later, but for the time being, I shall go alone through the Jarikanda forest. Sanatane Kohila Tumi Jaha Vrindaban Tomara Tara Duibai Tata Koriyachagaman Sanatane Kohila Tumi Jaha Vrindavan Tomara Duibai Tata Koriyachagaman. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised Sanatan Goswami to proceed toward Vrindaban, and he informed him that his 2 brothers had already gone there. Kandakarangiya Mora Kangala Bhaktagan Vrindavane Aile Tander Korea Pahan Kantakarangiya Mora Kangala Bhaktagan Vrindavane Aile Tandera Korea Palan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanatana Goswami, all my devotees who go to Vrindaban are generally very poor. They each have nothing with them but a torn quilt and a small water pot. Therefore, Sanatan, you should give them shelter and maintain them here. So those give all the devotees, Mahaprabhu told Sanatana Goswami, all my devotees who go to Vrindaban are generally very poor. They each have nothing with them but a torn quilt and a small water pot. Therefore, Sanatan, you should give them shelter and maintain them. Following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have constructed temples in both Vrindaban and Mayapur. Navadip, just to give shelter to the foreign devotees coming from Europe and America. Okay. Eta boli chalila Prabhu Sabalangia Sabai Parila Tata Murchita Hoya. After saying this, Mahaprabhu embraced them all and began to proceed on his way, and they all fainted and fell down. Katakane uti sabe duke kariyaila Sanatana Gosai Vrindavan Nerichalila. After some time, all the devotees got up and returned to their homes, very much grief-stricken. Sanatana Goswami proceeded toward Vrindaban alone. Eta Rupa Gosai Jabe Maturaila Dhruvagate Tare Subhude Raya Milila. When Rupa Goswami reached Mathura, he met Subhuti Rai on the banks of the Jamuna at a place called Dhruvagat. Purve Jabe Subhuti Rai Chila Gode Adhikari Husaina Khan Sayara Kore Tahara Charite. Purve Jabe Subhuti Rai Chila Gode Adhikari Husaina Khan Sayara Kore Tahara Chakari. Formerly, Subhuti Rai had been a big landholder in Godadesh, Bengal. Sayara Hussain Khan was then a servant of Subhuti Rai. Dugi Kodai Tare Munisipa Koila Chidrapaya Raya Tori Chabukam Marila. Subhuti Roy met Hussain Khan in charge of digging a big lake, but once finding fault with him, he struck him with a whip. Pache Jabe Hussaina. Formerly, Subhuti Roy had been a big landholder in Godadesh, Bengal. Sayara Hussain Khan was then a servant of Subhuti Roy. Digi Kodai Tetare Munsifa Koila Chidrapaya Raya Tare Chabuka Marila. Subhuti Roy put Hussain Khan in charge of digging a big lake, but once finding fault with him, he struck him with a whip. Pache Jabe Hussain Khan Gode Raja Hoila Subhuti Rayare Tiho Bahu Badaila. Later, Hussain Khan, somehow or other, was appointed Nawab by the central Muslim government. As a matter of obligation, he increased the opulences of Subhuti Roy. He used to be a servant, good servant too. Tarastri Tarange Deke Maranera Chine Subhuti Rayare Korila Kame Kaha Rajasthane. Later, when the wife of Nawab Sayada Hussain Khan saw the whip marks on his body, she requested him to kill Subhuti Roy. Raja Kohe Amar Posta Raya Hoy Pita Tahare Marimu Hami Balo Nahikata. Hussain Khan replied, Subhuti Roy has maintained me very carefully. He was just like a father to me, he said. Now you are asking me to kill him. This is not a very good prospect. Stri Kohe Jati Loha Jade Praninan Maribe Raja Kohe Jati Nile Iha Nahijibe. Stri Kohe Jati Loha Jade Prane Namaribe Raja Kohe Jati Nile Iho Nahijibe. As the last alternative, the wife suggested that the Hussain take away Subhuti's caste and turn him into a Muslim. But Hussain Khan replied that if he did this, Subhuti Roy would not live. Srimarite Chahe Raja Sankate Parila Karunjara Panitara Mukhe Daujaila. This became a perplexing problem for him because his wife kept requesting him to kill Subhuti Roy. Finally, the Nawab sprinkled a little water on Subhuti Roy's head from a pitcher that had been used by a Muslim. Tabe Subhuti Roy se Chadmapaya Varanasi Aila Sab Vishaya Chariya. Taking the Nawab sprinkling water upon him as an opportunity, Subudhi Roy left his family and business affairs and went to Varanasi. Before he left, Subudhi Roy was a big landholder. He had land, he had riches and everything. But because of this controversy with Nawab Hussain Shah, his wife wanted him to kill him. Finally, he sprinkled some water on him from the pitcher used by a Muslim. Said, "Now you're a Muslim." So now this became a problem for Subudhi Roy, who was formerly a big, rich landholder with lots of property. But now, Tabe Subudhi Roy say Chadma Paya Varanasi Aila Sab Vishaya Chadiya. Taking the Nawab sprinkling water upon him as an opportunity, Subudhi Roy left his family and business affairs and went to Varanasi. Now he's being seen as a Muslim. But he's, of course, not, but he's had this water sprinkled on him from Muslims' pitcher. And then, what does the Muslim say? And this is due to the instigation of the Nawab Hussain Shah's wife. Finally, the Nawab sprinkled a little water on Subudhi Roy's head from a pitcher that had been used as a Muslim. Okay. Taking the Nawab sprinkling water upon him as an opportunity, Subudhi Roy left his family and business affairs and went to Varanasi. Prayas chitta puchilati ho panditera gane tarako he tapta gritta kana chara prane. When Subudhi Roy consulted the learned Brahmins at Varanasi, asking them how his conversion to Islam could be counteracted, they advised him to drink hot ghee and give up his life. This was the Brahmins. This is why there's Muslims in India. They were forcibly converted at the threat of the sword, and the Hindu society wouldn't accept them back again. When Subudhi Roy consulted the learned Brahmins at Varanasi, asking them how his conversion to Islam could be counteracted, they advised him to drink hot ghee and give up his life. That's because somebody's put some water on him and said, "Now you're a Muslim." And the Brahmins told him, "Oh, you can counteract that. Just drink some hot boiling ghee and give up your life." Keho kahe nahe alpadosha hoy shunira hilarai korea samshai. When Subudhi Roy consulted some other Brahmins, they told him that he had not committed a grievous fault and that consequently he should not drink hot ghee and give up his life. As a result, Subudhi Roy was doubtful about what to do. Tabe Jare Mahaprabhu Varanasi Aila Tarimili Rai Apana Vritanta Kohila. In this state of perplexity, Subudhi Roy met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When the Lord was at Varanasi, Subudhi Roy explained his position and asked Mahaprabhu what he should do. Prabhu kohe ihan hoite jaha Vrindaban nirantara kora Krishna namasankirtan. The Lord advised him, go to Vrindaban and chant the Hare Krishna mantra constantly. Ek namabase tomar papadosha jabe aranama loite Krishna charana paibe. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further advised Subudhi Roy, begin chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and when your chanting is almost pure, all your sinful reactions will go away. After you chant perfectly, you will get shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. Hare Krishna Nam Loite Krishna Stani Stiti Mahaprata Kera Hoi e prayaschiti. Ara Krishna nam loite Krishna stane stiti maha padakera hoi e prayaschiti. When you are situated at the lotus feet of Krishna, no sinful reaction can touch you. This is the best solution of all sinful activity. Pancha Agyaraya Vrindavanere Chalila Prayaga Ayogya Diya Namascharaye Aila. Thus receiving the order from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go to Vrindaban, Subhuti Roy left Varanasi and went through Prayag, Ayodhya and Naimisharanya toward Vrindaban. Kataka Divasarai Naimai Kata Divasarai Naimi Sharanye Rahila Prabhu Vrindabana Hoite Prayaga Jaila Subhuti Roy stayed for some time at Naimisharanya. During that time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Prayag after visiting Vrindaban. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Tomorrow I'll continue. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shimarusudan Gopal Govinda Ram Shimarusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Garadhara Shiva Sadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Garadhara Shiva Sadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Jai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jaite Vignana Shavista Puran Jaite Vignana Shavista Puran Jai Gosai Jar Mui Taradas Jai Gosai Jar Mui Taradas Kasabara Para Renu Mora Panchagras Kasabara Para Renu Mora Panchagras Tader Charana Sevi Bhaktasani Bas Tader Charana Sevi Bhaktasani Bas Janame Hoi More Janame More Abhilas Janame More Abhilas Jai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Jai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bacha Vrindavan Anande Bolo Hari Bacha Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas Harinam Sankirtan Kohai Naratam Udas. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Haribo. Shastra Parikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Tara Sadashi Shrimad Srila Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Tara Sadashi Shrimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Tara Sadashi Shrimad Srila Bhakti Rakshira Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Sananta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishoredas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunashi Jiva Gopal Bhattadash Raghuna Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Primsigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Vrindaban Das Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai. Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vishwavaranya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Ram Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Srimad Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Shri Koladvip Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Vrindaban Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Govardhan. Shamkana Radhakunda Kalindi Amuna Ju Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai.